Hi, my name's Aaron and welcome to this intermediate fingerstyle guitar lesson for When My Fingers Find Your Strings by Jeff Daniels. We're going to be referencing the 2024 single version that you can find across all streaming platforms. In order to kind of get to grips with this video, you will need to be familiar with the classical system in terms of the plucking hand. So I'll be saying P-I-M-A. To me, that's the less confusing way to do things. So, good luck with this song, and without further ado, let's get zoomed in. So, in our first two bars, we're going to take the fretting hand third finger, place it on fret 3 of the low E string, and we're going to pluck that with P of the plucking hand. Then the next note is an open D plucked with P of the plucking hand again. Then we come back to that first note, P of the plucking hand. Then we do an open B string with M of the plucking hand. Then we do an open D once again with P of the plucking hand. And then we do an open G with I of the plucking hand. So we have P, 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 M, P, I. And rhythmically, we have, if I play that bar over and over, and in the piece, that same bar, as you can see here, goes round twice, the identical bar. And this really is kind of a pre-intro. I don't classify this as the proper intro. The intro is the next bit. So you'll also notice on here, I've got the classical notation fingerings on the actual notation, okay? PM, PIM, PPI, etc. in that first bar. So you know which of these right hand fingers to use, or plucking hand fingers to use. So this is our intro, and you'll recognise it at full speed as and so on and so forth, okay? But obviously we're going to slow it right down. So the first note, still with that third finger of the fretting hand on the low E, we're going to pluck that with P of the plucking hand. Then we're going to bring our pinky of the fretting hand to the third fret of the B string, and we're going to pluck that with M. And then the next two open strings, D then G, is P, I. So the four notes. Then we do two strings together. And what we have to do is bring the first finger of the fretting hand down to the first fret of the B, while still keeping that third finger on the low E string. And we pluck those two strings with P and M together. So, and we've got an open G played with P, and then while still holding on to the third and first frets of the low E and the B and letting that D string ring out, we bring our second finger of the fretting hand, which is just kind of floating here, onto the second fret of the G string, and we play that with I. And then we're going to slide into the next bar, okay? Slide up to the fourth fret on the G string there, and that gives us our first note. We don't need to pick that note. And once we've slid, our first finger that is then primely in position over the third fret of the B string, which we pluck with M. So that slide motion, 2, 4, and then 3 on the B string. Then we pluck the open D string with P. Now this next slide is not the same as the previous slide. This next slide is a grace note slide. So our primary note is actually the second fret of the G string, but we got to slide into that, and it's done for effect as opposed to sliding into a note wholly. So it always kind of reminds me of a dog when a dog's sad and it goes, all right? So that's the kind of sound you want. It's not this. Okay? This always sounds like a very sympathetic sound. Okay? And then that note's tied, and then your next note on the and of 3 is an open G string played with I, and then we bring that second finger of the fretting hand, which is going to come from the 2nd fret of the G string because that's where it previously was, that'll come up to the 2nd fret of the D string, and we play that with P, and then we use I to play the open G. Then we're into bar 5, and in bar 5, well, it's almost identical to bar 3, except the very last note is an open G string played with I instead of a 2nd fret G string. Then bar 6, we play the low E with P, then the open B with M, the open D with P, and then we reach up with finger A and play the high E at the 3rd fret, and in the fretting hand we're doing that with this pinky finger here. And then P to the low E again on the 3rd fret, and then M on the open B, P on the open D, and then I on the open G. So this song, quite pacey, quite a lot of tempo in this song. Might take a while to build up the speed, but that's okay. You don't like this stuff because it's super easy to do. You like it because it's a challenge, and if it's a challenge, that's probably why. It has something to do with the fact that it sounds pretty cool. Okay, and then we're into bar 7 and 8, and we can see that bar 7 and 8 are absolutely identical to bars 3 and 4. Then we have bar 9. Okay, so I can tell you that every single note just alternates here with the plucking hand. It goes P, I, P, I, P, I, P, I. Okay, so you're starting with the 3rd finger that was once on the 3rd fret of the low E, is now going to come up to the 3rd fret of the A string. I'm going to pluck that with P. Then the G string is going to be plucked with I. The open D with P. Then you bring the 2nd finger of the fretting hand to the 2nd fret of the G string and use I. Okay, so that's P, I, P, I, P, I, P, I. And then you use those same 2 fingers again on those next 4 notes. Open D, open G, open D, open G, P, I, P, I. And then of course we get to bar 10, which is the same as bar 6. Now we are into the first verse, which comes in at 23 seconds into the song, where Jeff starts singing. We've got some nice ideas going on behind the vocals here. No doubt he took some time to learn to sing and play this together. Not an easy task, especially when you can just bash it out on the Kelly Clarkson show the way he did. Okay, so that first note there, 3rd fret of the low E with the 3rd finger, and we're going to play that with P, and then our pinky is going to be on that 3rd fret of the B string, and we're going to play that with M, and then the 2 open strings, P, I. So first 4 notes, P, M, P, I, and then in the fretting hand, the 1st finger comes down to the 1st fret of the B string, and we do the same thing again with the plucking hand, P, M, P, I. And then we do the 3rd fret of the low E with P, the open B with M, the open D with P, and then we're going to bring the pinky to the 3rd fret of the high E string and play that with A. In fact, you might just want to have that there from the start of the bar. Okay. And then the last 4 notes, P on the low E string, M on the B string, P on the D string, I on the G. So all together, bars 11 and 12 played slowly. as you can see, bars 13 and 14 identical to 11 and 12, so just repeat those. Bars 15 and 16 identical to bars 11 and 12, so just repeat those, okay? And then we get to bar 17. We're outlining a C sus2 chord here, and the third finger of the fretting hand comes to the third fret of the A string, and we play that with P. And then the first finger is on the first fret of the B string, and we play that with M. And the two open strings, P, P, I, if you haven't already guessed it. So P, M, P, I, and then the next four notes are the same as the previous four in bar 17, so P, M, P, I again. Might sound a little dissonant if you're not used to that, those two notes together. Often when lower notes are played close together, they can sound much more clashy and dissonant than they might otherwise do when they're higher up or in a kind of a different context. Okay, so bar 18 you can see is the same as bar 14, so P, M, P, A, P, M, P, I. And that is verse 1, and all of that, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all of that goes round 2 times while he's singing. Let's now have a look at the chorus, which is 45 seconds into the song, and things start to change a little bit here. So first of all, our fretting hand comes up into 5th position. That means our first finger begins at fret 5. Okay, and you're gonna have this kind of shape going on, all right? So your first finger of the fretting hand will be on fret 5 of the high E. Then your pinky will be on fret 7, and your third finger will be on fret 7 too. So you've got this D major shape, all right? And in terms of the notes that you pluck out of that in bar 19, well, the open string, the D string, is using the thumb. Then the 7th fret of the G string is using I. And then the 5th fret of the high E is using A. So skipping out a string, but also skipping out a finger on the plucking hand. And then our thumb comes to the open A string. And once we've hit that open A string, finger M goes to the 7th of the B. Finger I goes to the 7th of the G. And finger A goes to the 5th of the high E. So you have then in bar 20, the first half of the bar is the same. So we get to the A string, and then we do the 7th of the B with M, and the 7th of the G with I. So 19 and 20 play together. And just notice that thumb alternating between the bass notes like it does for a lot of this piece. Then what we do is we take this shape down in bar 21. Okay, we take it down 2 frets so that now our first finger's on the 3rd fret of the high E, our pinky's on the 5th of the B, and our 3rd finger of the fretting hand is on the 5th of the G. And then we play the open D with P. Then we use I on the 5th of the G. And then we use A, again skipping out a finger, skipping out a string, on the 3rd of the high E. Then P comes to the A string, and then M on the 5th of the B, and then the 2 open strings there, P, I, as we've done before. Now, I don't know how this comes across, but I don't think Jeff means to play those open notes. I think he's just changing chord a little bit too early, which, you know, constitutes slightly off technique. But don't let me, that's not a dig. That's just me trying to tell you that actually I think he probably wanted to hold on to that chord longer. But that's just my opinion. I might be completely wrong. He might have devised a plan to use those open strings as time to change to the open chord, okay? Either way, it's just worth kind of knowing. All right, so open strings, okay? That's how bar 21 sounds. And then we get to bar 22, and we've seen this before previously, all right? So P on the low E there, M on the B, P on the D, and then the pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E, and we play that with A, and then P on the low E, and then the M on the B string, and then we do PI for the last two. And then bar 23 of the chorus, this is the same kind of shape that we have in bar 19, but a different picking pattern. So for whatever reason, this has been intentionally changed for variation, I suspect. So we're going to play the open D with P. Then we're going to play the 7th fret of the G string with I. And then we're going to play the open A string and the 5th fret of the high E with P on the open A and A on the high E. And then as we come into those other two notes, the two 7s, we go M, I. So that bar you get. And that is bars 23 and 24 because they're both the same, right? Then we take that shape down 2 frets once again. And we play the open D string with P. Then we play the 5th of the G string with I. And then we play the 3rd of the high E, again missing that string and missing that finger out, with A. So we get... And then the open A string with P. Then the 5th of the B with M. And the two remaining open strings, P, I. And then we're back into that familiar idea with the G chord. Then at 55 seconds into the song, which I still count as the chorus, okay, we are outlining an A minor chord here. And we play the first open A string with P. And then we play the 2nd fret of the D string with P as well. Then the 2nd fret of the G with I. Then the open A string with P, and then the 1st fret of the B string with M, and then the remaining two notes PI as usual. And again, that open string I suspect is maybe he's just changing chord a little too soon, and so we're getting a little open string ringing out. So you wouldn't do too bad to just stick with the 2nd fret there. But I think coming off quite early there, in my opinion. Okay. Then we're outlining a G with a B in the bass in bar 28. So the shape I want you to form is I want you to do it in this way. First finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. And it's going to set you up for other things that happen later in the piece. So you won't have to think about doing it a certain way. Okay. So in terms of how we play this, the first note, the 2nd fret of the A string, we play with P. And then the open D string we also play with P, because they're still, you know, they're bass notes. And then the second fret of the A with P again. Third fret of the B with finger M. And then PI for the last two open strings. So bars 27, 28 together played slowly. Then bar 29 we're outlining a C chord. So you just get that C chord on the ready. First note is played with P. And then the next note is played with P also. Second fret of the D. Then we play the G string with I. So we have. Then we move the third fret of the fretting hand down to the low E string. And then we play that with P, and then the open G string with I. And then the third fret comes back up to the A string at the third fret. And it kind of, he slides, but then he does hit the note in the next bar. So he's not sliding to that note and not playing the note in the next bar. He's just, you know, he does play it again. Slide is kind of there for effect again. Okay. And in bar 30, we're basically going to form our C chord. This is our C chord, right? We're going to form that 2 frets higher. And this gives us like a variation on a D, all right? It's like a D with an additional 4th in there, okay? And notes-wise, we're going to play the 5th fret of the A with P. And we're going to play the 4th fret of the D with P as well. And then we're going to do the open G string with I. And then the 5th fret of the low E with P. And then we're going to reach across and play the 3rd fret of the B string with M. And again, once again, if you haven't already guessed it, the last 2 notes there, PI. It's this lovely kind of dissonant sound. And then in bar 31, he does a similar idea. So he starts on the 5th of the A, and that's played with P. And then the 3rd of the B string played with M. And then the 4-0 PI. Then he brings the finger, the 3rd finger of the fretting hand, up to the 5th of the low E. And then M on the 3rd of the B. And then PI on 4-0. So 30 into 31 you've got. And then he brings his 3rd finger back up to the 5th of the A. Remember, you've got that C shape but starting on the 5th fret. And then you just strum that chord as is. You know. Try not to catch the high E or the low E, but it's not a big deal if you catch the high E. It's not too bad. Okay. And that holds for an entire 7 beats. And then at the end of bar 33, 1, 2, 3, 4, we slide with our 3rd finger all the way down, and that takes us into the next section. So just to recap the bridge in its entirety, from bar 27 we have and that takes us into the second intro. And would you believe it, the second intro is the same as the intro that we've played before. So that's our intro. And that second intro is at 1 minute 5 seconds. Then we get to the second verse at 1 minute 15 seconds. And of course, that is identical to the first verse, and it does go round twice. Then we get to chorus 2 at 1 minute 36. And of course, chorus 2 is identical to chorus 1, so you just do all of that again. Then we get to the third intro at 1 minute 57 seconds, and again the third intro the same as the other ones. But then it changes when we come to the bridge. So bar 73 is the start of the bridge, and we're going to be outlining a C major chord, just a normal C major. We've got our third finger on the third fret of the A string, and on that first note we're going to use P, and then the second note on the first fret of the B we're going to use M, and then for the 2 and the 0 on the D and the open G, of course we're going to use PI. So then we take the fretting hand third finger and move it up to the third fret of the low E instead, and we do all of the same things except that note changes. P, M, P, I. So you've got that moving bass line. And then in bar 74 you do exactly the same thing again. Then in bar 75 you're gonna do that G with the B in the bass shape that we did earlier. So first finger on the second fret of the A, third finger on the third fret of the B, and then you want to put the pinky on the third fret of the high E, because that's going to prepare you for what happens in bar 76 as well. So in terms of the fingers here, in the plucking hand, we're going to go P, M, P, M, P, M, P, M. Quite straightforward there. The thumb's doing the moving bass line and you're just bouncing off one note on the B string. Then in bar 76, it's almost the same kind of idea, but we're going to go P, M, P, and then we're skipping over 2 strings to do A. So second fret of the A string with P, third fret of the B string with M, open D string with P, third fret of the high E with A. And then for those last 4 notes, P, M, P, I. So bar 73, 74, 75, 76 all together, nice and slowly. So at speed. Okay. Then we get to bar 77 and we're outlining an A minor chord. In the first open A there, we play with P. Then we play the first fret of the B with M. Then we play the second fret of the D with P. And then the second fret of the G string with I. So P, M, P, I, and you do that twice in that bar. And you do it once again in bar 78. And then you do it again, except on the last note you lift off the third finger and play an open G string. Again, this might be Jeff just lifting his fingers just a little bit soon, anticipating the chord change. Then we're doing that G with the B in the bass like we did in 75 and 76. And except this time we don't go up to the high E string. Then at 2 minutes 29 seconds, we're sort of halfway through the bridge and we're outlining that C chord again. Okay, and we go to the G with the B in the bass in bars 83 and 84, so it's all repeated stuff pretty much. Then we're into bar 85, we're outlining the A minor chord once again. Then what we do is we make an F chord. Now, you could do it with an F bar chord, but I've watched the video and Jeff does it with his thumb, so we'll do it the way he does it. So the first fret of the low E is now covered with the thumb, and we're going to play that with finger P. Then we use finger M on the first fret of the B, so P, M, and then the 3 and the 2, P, I, of course. We do that twice. Then we're doing what is a D7 with an F sharp in the bass. So we lift the third finger off completely to reveal that open D string, and we bring the thumb up a fret. And that gives us a D7 with an F sharp in the bass. But the right hand finger pattern stays identical. And then just before that last note, we lift off for the open G. And that takes us nicely onto verse 3, which is at 2 minutes 39 seconds. And of course, verse 3 is the same as the previous verses, so you can just play the exact same thing there. Then we get to chorus 3 at 3 minutes, and again, same as the previous choruses. There may be some very tiny variations, but really nothing worth worrying about. You've still got the song there. Okay, so then we have the ending setup, which kind of leads us to the end of the song at 3 minutes 11 seconds. And in bar 113, we are playing an A minor chord. We're outlining an A minor chord, shall we say. And we play the open A string with P, and then the second fret of the D string with P, and then the second fret of the G string with I. Then the open A string with P again, and then the first fret of the B with M, and then open A with P, open G with I. So that bar you've got. Again, maybe just lifting off early to anticipate the next chord there. Anticipating the next chord. So then we move our second finger of the fretting hand up to the second fret of the A string. And then we've got an open D, and both of those notes there in bar 114, P, P with the plucking hand. And then we use P of the plucking hand to play the second fret of the A again. And then those last three notes we go M, P, I. So P, 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 M, P, I. And in a bar 115 we are outlining a C chord. Now this is a similar thing to what we've done in the chorus before, okay? So we play the third fret there with P, and then it's P, I. Bring the third fret of the fretting hand down to the low E, and we do P, M, and then the third fret of the fretting hand goes back up to the A string, and we play the third fret of the A string with P. So and we take that whole shape up 2 frets as we did before, and we do that same kind of familiar pattern. P, M, P, I, P, M, P, I. Okay, we just do that once. So bars 113 up to 116. Okay. And then we just repeat all of that again for bars 117, 18, 19 and 20. And 3 minutes 22 we outline the A minor chord again, and there's a slight variation on there. So the A string is played with P, and then the first fret of the B is played with M, second fret of the D with P. So you've got, and then the 2 open strings PI, and we've got that G with the B in the bass, and we outline the C, slide up, and then we're going to have to slide our pinky up to 7 for this end sequence. So a little bit of a tricky bit here at the end. So how are we going to do this? So yeah, like I say, we slide the pinky up to the 7th of the B. Then we use P on the open D string. Then we're going to bring the second finger to the 9th, slide it to the 9th of the G, and our first finger to the 8th of the B string, which we'll play with M. So we have, then we play the open D string with P, and we slide that second finger to the 11th of the G, play that with I, Then we use M to play the 10th of the B, P to play the open D, and then we do a triplet on the high E string. We want to be holding this shape here, this D major triad at the top here, where our first finger is barring the high E and the B strings, and our second finger is on the 11th of the G. So I play the triplet with finger A of the plucking hand. So it's a hammer on and a pull off. And then I play the 10 of the B with my M finger. And then I use my P finger to play the open D. And then my I finger to play the 11th of the G. And then that last chord, I just use all 4 digits there. P, I, M, A to play that last chord. So played slowly, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, and that takes us to the outro. And of course the outro at 3 minutes 32 seconds is the same as all of our intros. However, I have decided to put the Kelly Clarkson Show ending lick here. And that's at bar 135, and that goes like this. And what I'm doing is I'm walking finger I and finger M to play this, okay? So, 3rd fret of the high E string with the 3rd finger, the fretting hand, to an open high E. Walking the fingers, 3, 0, little space, and then we go 3, 1, 0 on the B string, 2, 0 on the G, 2, 0 on the D string, and then a hammer on the A string to the 2nd fret, open D, and there's a bit of a row there at the end as well. It slows down just a little bit. And that there is how you play When My Fingers Find Your Strings by Jeff Daniels. Please let me know in the comment section how you got on with this song, what you struggled with, and if there's any way I can help additionally. Other than that, be sure to like this video so that other people who like this song will see it in their feed, and they'll also be able to benefit from learning it, because it is a great tune, great fingerstyle tune. Thanks very much, and keep on strumming.